Greetings, folks. How's everyone doing?
Good. Good.
Heard a couple of goods. Seeing some thumbs up.
Living.
Living. That's definitely better than the alternative, I hear. Seeing a few new backgrounds. Very nice. Anthony, that looks like some sort of space base. What's that from? I don't recognize it.
It's from Smash Bros. Oh, it just.
Okay. My son is a huge Smash Bros. Player. Sadly, I don't play it as much, so. Still have another minute before class begins. Kat, what's that behind you?
That is a creature from Subnautica.
Okay.
That's a Reaper Leviathan.
Also,
they are very mean.
Fair enough. Also a game my son plays a lot of, but I have not.
I suggested if you want to be terrified.
Fair enough. It just came out with an expansion, didn't it?
It's. I wouldn't exactly call it an expansion. It's pretty much a game all on its own. It's kind of like a part 2 to it.
Okay. Fair enough. Kayla's got, I think, zombies attacking or something. I went for a subtle background today.
I didn't even notice the moving parts behind you. I thought it was just a black background.
Yep. The bed sheet works though, so long as you don't cheat and show the whole thing, guys. You're spoiling the illusion.
Man, I'm honest, Joe. I thought that was a whole red wall until you tilted up, man. Now I'm just let down and I'm sad. All right, you ruined the level of immersion for me. No, you say.
All right, I guess it's time. We should probably begin. So, how are things going on this assignment? Oh, Dustin's got Baby Yoda up there. Dustin, you will be happy to know that I needed a name for my Twitch account so that I could play this Friday on.
And it's Baby Yoda.
It is Baby Yoda.
That makes me so happy. Words cannot understand how happy that actually makes me.
Well, the T Beatty was already taken, so you know.
Are you serious?
Yes, there's already a T Beatty.
Ah.
Well, I got Baby Yoda. I mean, come on.
Who's the real winner here?
Yeah. Anyway, if you haven't signed up for the week 1 done, I've signed up to do Drawful if anyone wants to compete. I went for that one because there were more web students playing that one than the others. But please feel free to sign up if you've never done Jackbox games. They're a blast. I am planning at some point later this quarter to do like a web Jackbox games at lunchtime or something. But anyway, so what kind of problems are you running into? Have people started digging into their trivia? Hopefully.
I've got a problem.
Yep.
I'm trying to make it so if you click a button, I'm having troubles with the if statement. I'm doing if the button is the correct answer, then I'm trying to just, for simplicity right now, make it say console.log, you got it right.
Okay.
I'm just having troubles trying to get the correct answer because I guess it doesn't see it or something, or it doesn't know it. Probably it's out of scope or something.
So the first thing to do there, I would recommend console.logging what it is seeing. You know, console log the variable that it thinks it's getting. You see what I'm saying?
Not really.
Okay, fair enough. Well, maybe we need to do some coding. Let me share my screen. I don't want to give away too much, but I'm happy to help where I can. Some of this I want you to work through and own yourself.
Yeah, I like working through it. I'm just kind of confused right now, and I've been working on it for a while. I'm still very lost.
Yep, not a problem. So I'm gonna load up the trivia help thing that we did yesterday, which I think looks, oh, I got all kinds of stuff open here, don't I? Don't need the JavaScript review. That looks like what we did yesterday, right? Hang on half a second. I've got a bunch of stuff left over from mobile app dev from this morning. Let me get everything from your class all set up. Okay, so that's looking fairly familiar, right? We've got questions about the Stargate universe. I have no idea how many seasons there were of Stargate universe. Anyway, so in our handle click, all I did yesterday was I was console logging the target ID. Now, if you were to, you know, I'll pseudocode this a little bit. I'm gonna come down here. I'm not actually gonna write actual code. But maybe you've got a my answers array, and in that array, you've got your answer 1, which is your correct answer. Are you doing something along these lines? I talked about doing this yesterday. Do you remember?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
I was just trying to grab it from my data.
So it's tough. It's tough to do that because you want to make sure that you can shuffle everything. So
I'm gonna do that later. I'm just trying to get it to work simply right now.
all right. Well then let me do something along these lines. Okay, so we've got our different buttons, and you can click on the different buttons here. And I suppose you could, if you wanted to, we've got the different results. We've got our incorrect answer 0, 1, and 2. You could look at it and say, so how are you trying to do it? Maybe I should ask that so I don't go off on a tangent that's not helping you.
So what I'm actually doing right now is in the handle click, I've done, well, I don't know if I should like say it for the whole class, like exactly what I've done, or is that okay?
Well, since it's not working, let's hear the basic approach that you're going.
Okay. So I just did I'm doing an if statement, evt.target.id. If that equals a double equals, I tried to do like my data results and like correct answer underscore with an underscore. And
So
but I guess I think that's like out of scope, but I don't really know how to get that to use the double equals to ev2 target.id.
So you're absolutely right. It is out of scope. And there are multiple ways to handle that. One way, which would make Douglas Crockford absolutely scream and say, no, don't do this, is you could create a global variable and assign your data to the global variable, because then it's usable inside all of functions and it won't ever be out of scope. And that is absolutely a possible way to do it. So
I would like to do that. Would I just have to do that by saying like my data dot results like outside of?
yeah,
I guess I just don't really know how my underscore data dot work is working. Or
so my underscore dot data is a parameter that we're passing into main right now. So what we're doing is we fetch all of our stuff, we get our promise data, and then I say, all right, let's pass our promise data into main. And so we get to main, and that's what we call the parameter that gets passed in. So everything that was in promise data is now in my data when it's inside main. Does that make sense? Another way that I could go about doing it, though, is I could say, let my data, and just create it as a global variable. And then I don't need to actually pass my data in to main. I can instead do this. Since my data is now global, I could say my data equals my promise data. So the information that gets loaded in through the fetch is now going into this global variable, which means I can right inside the handle click console.log my data results 0 correct answer. And so right inside my handle click, and then when I click on something, sure enough, and I can click on anything and it's always going to say Serbia because that's the correct answer. Do you see how I did that? I just created a global variable for my data. And the way you create a global variable is you just create it outside of any function or class, and that will automatically make it global.
yeah, I see that. Just like in that fetch function that you have down there.
Yes.
How come you had to do after? Let's see, how do I say this? How come you had to do my data equals promise underscore data? How come you have to do that after? Or how come you just barely had to do that instead of doing that earlier, like yesterday?
So you're thinking, what if I just did well, okay, hang on. So if I used my data instead of this, I just tell it to be my data like that.
Well, I was just wondering why you had to say my data equals promise data now. Like, why did you just barely have to do that instead of doing that yesterday? You get what I'm saying?
So what we did today, or excuse me, what we did yesterday was we passed promise data into main.
Oh, that's right. And that's the same parameter then.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that makes sense now.
So I know it's confusing. Remember, this is JavaScript and everything is either an object or acts like an object. So in JavaScript, I know you're used to passing in other languages, you're used to passing in an int, or you're used to passing in a float or a string. in JavaScript, because everything acts like an object or is object-like, not only can you pass all those things in, you can pass in arrays, you can pass in objects, you can pass functions in as parameters to other functions. Kind of crazy, right? In truth, we do that sort of thing. Let's see, did I do it up here? I didn't in this case. You'll see as we go along, there will be times where we will pass in functions as parameters, and it's actually a very common thing to do. We do it in jQuery a lot. Technically, that's what's going on with this then, but there are easier examples to understand that. But yeah, if you want to have, my data as a global variable, it's not an ideal practice, especially if we're paying attention to Douglas Crockford. But for now, I'm okay with you doing that. In which case, you would just say, my data equals your promise data, and then you don't have to pass anything into main. And my data will be accessible inside your handle click, and everything will just work. Does that help?
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone have other questions? I don't have my chat open. Let me open my chat and see what's going on there too. Okay, let's see. So I am noticing Kayla's mentioning about Drawful. To play the Jackbox games, you actually don't have to own the game yourself. Just the host has to have it. So if you don't have it, please sign up anyway. It'll be a fun week one done. Let's see. Yeah, it was also, I think, one of them. Oh, maybe it was, I was thinking one of them was also free recently on Epic Games too. So some other things to think about. Think about what you can do with this to make it more fun, more interesting than just, asking questions and having them guess the answer. Do try and figure out what you can do to go beyond. I've intentionally made this fairly open-ended, and yes, you can just fulfill the requirements and do that, but I really love it when people go above and beyond, and to the point where my graders know that when students do that, they absolutely should be awarding extra credit for that sort of thing. So make it so cool that the graders want to show it to me. Does that make sense to everybody? And, I know at least, both Eric and Clayton are on here, so they're listening to me. They want to give you extra credit. Is that true, guys? Well, maybe not.
I like cool projects. Projects are cool that are cool.
There we go. So have fun with this one. I think this is a lot more interesting than some of the things that we did in Intro to Web. We get to do some creative stuff, and so now one other thing to remember. What do we have going on that needs to be taken care of before tomorrow?
Is it another test about the book?
quiz.
3-4 quiz.
Yep. So chapters 3 and 4. Most people did. Actually, everyone did pretty well on the last quiz. I don't think nobody got below a 7. But hopefully,
Oh, do we need to do participation for today, or is that over?
let's go ahead and do a participation for today. We are gonna. They've asked us to do participation regularly, so I do have a participation quiz all set for you. Let's. Oh, wait a minute! Don't take it yet. Hang on. Don't do it. I have a little problem with it. Ungraded survey. Whew. All right, take it now.
It is up. It's just in
You
assignment
already
quizzes,
did.
not surveys.
Yeah,
For
refresh.
some reason.
Refresh.
Oh,
Yeah, I accidentally had it as a graded quiz for a moment. Refresh and take the ungraded version. Everyone got that taken? Excellent. Okay. What other questions do you all have? Anything got you stuck or confused about this assignment? Now is an excellent chance to ask that question. Feel free to do it through the mic or through the chat room. Okay, so shall we turn this into a work day and continue on? And as people have questions, I will be here. Eric and Clayton are here. They've already done one of these before. Did you guys do an epic job on it? I can't remember.
I got extra credit.
There we go. Clayton wants you to get extra credit like he did. All right, I will stop sharing my screen and let's go to work. Dustin, you look like you were trying to say something there, but
Oh boy, muted mic. Today's been a day. Tutors, what conference room are y'all in the LMS classroom?
So for like tutoring, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're in section room F.
All right.
It's kind of like hard to navigate to. Have you guys like checked that out yet?
I've looked at it. I haven't messed with it a whole lot.
Okay. So it's under the in the study tools LMS class. It's in the new conferences room F, right? So you just click join and it'll open up a new tab with the big blue button site.
Nice. All right. That is my question.
so here's a question also for the tutors. Have you posted your hours yet? Yes, there's tutoring.
Yeah, I did that on the first day.
Excellent. Cool.
And they're also in the LMS class as well, that study tools. There's a tab in the modules, I believe, that is coaching schedule. And all of the tutors for the school are in there. So you can see anyone in there.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, cool. Let's go to work. Yes, what is your question?
So does evt.target.id.innerHTML, does that not work then?
What do you mean? It's working on mine.
Oh, it doesn't work for me. Because in my
Wouldn't
if
it-
statement, I had it so that if it equals with double equals my data results correct answer, then it should console log you got it right. But it
Wouldn't it
keeps saying
just be
got it wrong.
evt.target.innerHTML? Because when you have the ID, that becomes a number, right? Or am I thinking wrong here?
No,
I thought ID was the
it's the ID name of whatever it is they clicked.
Yeah. So when you're trying to get the inner HTML, wouldn't it just be evt.target.inner HTML since the target's the element that has the HTML instead of evt.target.id.inner HTML?
Depends how he's writing it.
Fair enough.
Oh, because I thought you had to get the specific target's ID in our HTML.
If you're comparing it against an ID, then yes.
I'm not comparing it against an ID though, I guess. I guess, yeah, it makes sense because I don't need the ID because it already knows what, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. Yes.
So I'm working on the JavaScript right now,
Okay.
and I was trying to do the promise or the fetch right now. And this happened last class. So you type dot then and then parentheses promise data within it.
Yep, I can share my screen if you want.
Yeah. That I don't even, that dot right there, the second one, kind of with the my data promise equals promise data.
So right,
It says,
right here.
yeah,
Okay.
right there. It's giving me an error right now.
Okay.
You didn't happen to stick like a semicolon after the first dot then, did you? Because I tend to make that mistake a lot.
I sure did.
Okay.
Sure
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. So notice I've got these indented. These, I know this is a little strange, but it is how it works with the fetch. Technically, this is all one big line, one command.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Now,
Yeah.
people always hit enter and then indent them just because it's easier to read.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, these periods, think of it as kind of like you're running a method.
All right.
So yeah, we don't have any semicolons here. The only places we have them are when we're doing stuff inside the curly braces, because this technically we're passing a function in as a parameter to then.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, folks, that is about it for class today. Does anyone have any final questions? Okay. I will see everyone again tomorrow. Oh, wait a minute. There's a question. Let's see. Okay, yeah, never mind. Someone just checking to see if it was a work day, which it was. So anyway, I will see everyone tomorrow, and come with questions if you have them, and I'll see you later. Take care.
Hasta luego.